Welcome, friends! As you might notice, we have some pretty big updates coming down the pipeline in Eternal. Long live Endra! Endra is dead. Endra is probably not dead. Endra is still very, 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 very powerful, but it has been nerfed a little bit, as you can see, and there's also been a lot of buffs and side buffs and just changes in general. There's a couple other nerfs. So we've got like Charchain Flail and Phoenix Stone and Gilded Flame have all been buffed. Same with Hourglass. Sand Spitter and Carnosaur are kind of side buffs. Embargo Officer is a buff, etc., etc. You can just kind of see there's a whole lot of changes here. The one we're concerned about today is Fearbinder. So, we're going to jump in. We have a new deck tech. I have not played this deck yet because, as you notice, the changes just came through. But I did write up a deck, and I have it sitting here ready to go. So, I'm sorry, my automatic reaction is to go and grab these. But we are going to take a look at doing a new deck. I really, really like this style. I've done it a few different times. I've loved the revenge kind of sacrifice style of deck. And there's a bunch of new things that can kind of go with it. So we're going to be trying those out. Fearbinder changed from a 2-cost relic that once per turn you may pay 4 and sacrifice 2 units in play to play a Fear's Sum with their combined health and attack and Berserk. Now it's 2. So it's now half the cost to do this. And the idea is that we want to do it with a bunch of things that we don't care about losing. So the way to do that is through Exalted and through Revenge. So we've got a bunch of different units that can kind of go with that. We've got Ghostblade Outcasts for Exalted and to give lifesteal to other things. We have Tock, and we have Xenan Lifespeaker all on 1. Why do we want 1-drops? Well, because we have Crownwatch Crest Gang. So Revenge, summon a 1-cost unit from your deck. And that's just a way to get us a whole lot of late game value, just kind of churn through our deck really quickly and do a bunch of different things. We have Hidden Road Smugglers as our merchant, because I'll get into that in a little while. We just want to have specifically kind of Argenport type cards. We've got Stonepowder Alchemist, one of the other revenge cards, being able to get lifesteal and stuff as well. It's just a really good, grindy kind of value card. You'll notice a lot of these cards are like that. They're all about getting a long-term card advantage, kind of slowing the game down. Like Tock can trade with early aggression or just be good chump blockers. You'll have the same thing with like Stonepowder Alchemist. It'll just trade nicely, slow the game down a lot, gain you a ton of life, and make it so the aggro decks don't just run you over. Crownwatch Crest Gang, same thing like we talked about. Then we have Inquisitor Makto as kind of our top-end revenge unit. We also have, because I didn't really get into it, Dakus, which is another new card that was from the Promises by Firelight update, where it entombs and you may sacrifice a unit to draw Dakus from your void instead of losing it. So whenever it dies, you can just sacrifice something else instead, and then it'll go back to your hand. Well, that's pretty cool when you've got Fearbinder and all these revenge units. So we can just sacrifice a bunch of revenge units instead. We can use the Dakus as a sacrifice thing. We can, to make like a bigger Fearbinder, we can do it for, you know, just as a beater on its own, and then when it dies, then we can instead sacrifice Tock or a Ghostblade or a bunch of different things. We have Seek Powers as some fixing, Devour to draw us deeper into the deck, because again, we don't really care about losing a lot of these. And then we have Immortalize, which is a great way for us to draw back a lot of our units. They'll get, once they have the Revenge exhausted and then they die again, which is actually something we want to have happen a lot of the time, they have Destiny, right? In our Void for Destiny, we can play Immortalize, get it back immediately, have it have Exalted. We can get it back at fast speed, so we can do sudden blocks with them. And it'll get Exalted, and it'll have a draw card on it, and it'll be free. So it'll just come right into play. We don't have to bother playing it or anything like that. Makes it pretty powerful to Immortalize with. We've got Desecrates as removal, and then Display of Ambition is another way to pull back a bunch of units out of our Void, or as removal, or as a finisher. So Display of Ambition obviously works a bunch of different ways, and it's one of the other reasons why I wanted to go 3 colors with this. So Dakus and Display of Ambition are kind of our 2 outs to fire cards here. In our market, we have Golem Press as a way for us to basically get a bunch of extra fodder for Dakus, for Fearbinder, ways to just sacrifice a bunch of little units that we can constantly use over and over again. We have Waylay, because I think that Endra is still going to be a thing, and it's just nice to stop Void decks. It's a really good counter to that. Regent's Tomb kind of does the same thing. Sabotage is pretty decent at slowing down some of the combo decks or different like control decks, whether it's like a Prodigious Sorcery style decks or whether it's Endra style decks. It's not amazing at it, but it does help a little bit with that kind of thing. Same with something like Reanimator. Getting rid of a Grasp at Shadows is really, really good. But then we've got Swear Vengeance as well, which can help us to give revenge to things like Dakus, which is actually fantastic, or to like Xenan Lifespeaker, Ghostblade, Hidden Road Smuggler, just different things that we don't have revenge on already, or to renew revenge on something we've pulled back out of the graveyard a bunch of times. We have Harsh Rule to just clear the board out if we're in trouble, and then we have Dizo's Office as kind of top-end finisher. Not sure if that's needed or if we want to do something different, but yeah, this is kind of the idea of the deck, the very, very basics of it. I have no idea if it's going to be good or not. I want to test it out right from the start, see how it goes in a zero-test environment. Nobody's really played much at all yet. This is like an hour old or less, and yeah, we're going to jump on into some games here. I'm excited to try it out. We'll have some fun.